Good evening, everyone. This is Lyrita Barrett for the Institute of Global Transformation with Meditation for Humanity. Today, I am speaking to you about the goal of the evolutionary process as we are still in the throes of moving from emotional polarization to a mental polarization. So we get in this very poignant message for this evening, some nuggets, some pearls for us to ponder on for a length of time because it's just beautiful the way this lesson goes. So, it's rather lengthy. I'd rather jump right into it and focus on it primarily for this lesson's messaging. So if we watch humanity over spans of time, lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes, we get that humanity's focus is basically to dominate or conquer matter and to control substance. Okay? So humanity's patterns over lifetimes and lifetimes shows the need to conquer and dominate, as well as the need to control substance. Substance is matter. My sense is that that is indicative of the swaths of time and the lifetimes within the Piscean age. As we are now in the Aquarian age and we move through this age over the next 2160 years or so, I think the end of the Aquarian age the patterning for humanity will be completely different. Of course, it has to be. That is the goal of the evolutionary process. So, we are, as humanity, we are synthetic beings. Okay? We seek to combine the three aspects of our being, that being spirit, consciousness, and matter. We seek to combine them in a form. And finally, upon mastery, move into a higher station of becoming gods ourselves, okay, within the Father's kingdom, within spirit and matter. The words dominate or conquer and controlling substance can probably best be defined by two other words, that being will for conquer, of course, dominate, and intelligence for controlling substance. Okay? Substance, matter, is creative. It has an intelligence. So, will and intelligence, these two are worked together in order to create anything. In order for us to be able to create, we must be able to work and wield will, the power of will, and intelligence. And we'll break that down as we go forward. So over great spans of time, consciousness learns how through effort, discipline, learning, consciousness learns how to manipulate substance to its will in order to create those things that it desires and needs. Okay. And it does this by molding forms into whatever it is that it needs. Okay. As humanity, we are given the gift of creativity, the divine gift of creativity. So, in fact, our entire life journey from cradle to grave is really all about understanding and learning the creative process. And through experience, to become adept at the creative process. So when we seek the path of Raja Yoga, also known as the occult path, where mind is developed and the ability of mind to go inward and learn from itself or about itself, is the path of Raja Yoga. So when we begin the aspects of Raja Yoga, in whatever form that may come, we are seeking at that point knowledge and wisdom. We're in the end goal. The goal is to achieve mastery, self-mastery, for the greater good, the greater whole. In doing so, we recognize that will and intelligence are both polar forces of each other. They are aspects of the same energy, vibrating at different frequencies. It is the awareness of the relationship, or how much the relationship in the equation of how much spirit to how much matter to how much consciousness is needed in order to manifest something, a creation, an idea. So the goal is to learn how to balance that equation of how much spirit to consciousness to matter in order to create something. And it is an ever-changing relationship. It's not a constant. Sometimes there might be more matter to consciousness and to spirit, or there might be more spirit to consciousness and to matter, or more consciousness to spirit and matter. It all depends. So it's this knowledge of wisdom, and it is this aspect of knowledge and wisdom that opens the way to greater and deeper understanding in the work. One may ask, how do you find the knowledge? Good question. This knowledge is found through an inward search, scrutiny, observation. And on a new turn of the spiral, with greater insight, the time and steps it takes to observe and to scrutinize and to kind of go back over one's steps in order to truly understand what one may have missed initially before entering on this more rigorous path of knowledge and wisdom. Okay? So we go through life, path of experience. We are unaware in that path of experience, for the most part, of how the dots all connect. We think everything is separate existence, separate experiences, none related to the other. We don't see the relationships and the patterns within things. And then we do. And when we do, we are then standing in a different place. Our reference points become different. We have greater or more aha moments. We begin to understand an aspect of patterning. We begin to learn our lessons a little faster as a result. And then an even greater and deeper awareness takes place, where one wants to connect dots in a deeper way. One wants to see patterns that may not be initially visible. One wants to go deep within. That's the turn of the spiral I was talking about. And with that deeper sense that comes greater insight. This time steps are taken, facts are examined, no stone is left unturned. There's a search for clues and patterns missed previously. Okay? So in that everything in our life, from experiences to every form in the world, from the beginning of our life to the end of the life, is an aspect of the creative process. Okay? Nothing is by chance, and that's the realization that we begin to have. Those are the dots that we begin to connect. Those are the deeper patterns that we begin to see. Nothing is by chance. Anything that is something had to be created by the same process that brought humanity or the human soul into being. There is no differentiation. So that process that brought the human soul into being, that process is a constant. It is always at work. It is It never fails. It always works. Whether or not the user is consciously aware of it, that process always works. And it's the same process that knows that everything that is anything had to be created by the one. Okay? So it's our job, humanity's job, each and every one of us, to become aware of this and learn how to use it deliberately and with purpose. To become aware of the creative process and to learn how to use it. It's a tall order because there's a lot involved in understanding it. But when we're able to do this, then we become assistants to humanity. We become bridgers between humanity and the hierarchy for the benefit of the planet. Okay? We are then able to redeem the form nature. Once it's redeemed for spiritual growth and the development of human consciousness, because it is then lifted out of darkness. It's lifted out of the shadows. Okay? We begin to perfect ourselves. We redeem our substance. Its frequency becomes higher. And more connected to the one life. So if we remember, last month we spoke about 3 laws. The law of polarity, the law of magnetic control, and the law of precipitation. The law of polarity is that law that states that when will, spiritual will, and mind are brought together, the creative process begins. Because it creates a magnetic field in the mind by that polarity, law of polarity. The law of magnetic control states that when the magnetic field is created because of spirit focused on mind or substance, when that magnetic field is created and focused there, held there for a long period of time, mental substance begins to mold itself into the pattern dictated by that will. Awesome. A thought then is born through the magnetic control of substance, that hovering and impressing that energy of will, spirit, divine will, onto matter. It creates an activity. And the activity actually molds itself according to the dictates of that will. It will perfectly represent that energy, spiritual will, impressed upon it. And then the law of precipitation. This law states that when that idea or that thought form is born, a triangle of precipitating energy has been put into juxtaposition with time and space. Okay? Time and space is created as a result of the birthing of that idea, or the inception of the idea starts a movement. So tonight, we're going to add one more law. It's the law of correspondence. From the dictum by Hermes Trismegistus, as above, so below. As below, so above. As we look out on our environment and world, we use this law of correspondence to understand everything. Okay? The law itself states that harmony, agreement, and correspondence between the three planes of manifestation, life, and being, that there is harmony, agreement, and correspondence that exists between the three planes of manifestation, 1, life, 2, and being, 3. This is a truth because everything included in the universe is all emanating from the same source, and the same laws and principles and characteristics apply to each, no matter if it be on the physical, the mental, or the spiritual planes. Doesn't make a difference. For each one of these are simply degrees of the one life, different frequencies of the one life, so to speak. And the law of correspondence works on all levels, in all places. So it's a way for us to become familiar with and understand life, science, everything in a new way, in a different way, seeing the relativity of it all. Divine Spirit is the hidden life behind all lives. It is the Father energy, or the Father aspect. It is the motivating principle. Or impulse behind all lives. The form, the outer form, hides this life. It hides the divine spirit. And as such, we forget who we really are and think that we are the form, when the form is simply the vehicle of contact in order to learn and experience. and grow. We are that divine spirit that is hidden behind the form. So divine spirit works within the form to produce consciousness. It gives itself to matter. Yet it remains totally itself within matter. God, the Father, the positive pole of manifestation. And then we look at matter. Matter in its highest frequency is the mind of God. Remember, there are different levels, frequencies within each plane. It is the form building, matter is the form building substance which arranges itself in the pattern dictated by spirit or divine will. Spirit or divine will enters into matter, becomes the motivating intent, or spirit moves into intelligence. And what happens when that, and what occurs in that movement is the birthing of the sons of God, or units of consciousness, born between spirit and matter as the second person in the Holy Trinity. Spirit, Father, Son, consciousness, Holy Ghost, matter. Thus we conceive of God as the three persons in one: Father, Son, Holy Ghost, or Spirit, Christ, and matter. As above, so below. We are created in the image and likeness of God, the one life, divinity, spirit. The human soul, or the small child of God, the undeveloped child of God, is a trinity within himself as well, equally capable of the creative process. He is consciousness, possessed of a creative will and an active intelligence, who has reflected himself outwardly via a physical appearance. That vehicle, that body, substance, is the instrument of contact of the consciousness with the frequency of substance within which he is temporarily living. This vehicle is the way we navigate here. It's what we use. It's like an avatar. When you see those huge automatons, so to speak, those huge beings that the human being gets in order to navigate Pandora. Okay? So imagine that outward vehicle. That's who we are. That's who we think we are. But the real deal is that which is controlling it. And what controls it is consciousness. What controls us is consciousness. The soul uses our physical body as its way of contacting the physical, astral, and mental and spiritual worlds. Okay? More so the physical, astral, and mental. Spiritual worlds, we use our consciousness. Armed with his inner growth, after long periods of discipline, and his contact with the frequency of substance, he is working with at some point, and at some point, he will reach mastery, redeem the frequency of substance, which is what mastery really means. You've worked everything out. You've ironed out all the kinks. You have made yourself an aspect of perfectness, perfection. Okay. You understand the astral level or the emotional level. You understand the mental level, and you're working with it in concerted ways. You understand the physical body. And you're synthesizing all of these to work for the benefit of divine will. That's the responsibility that we all have. By manipulating will and the mind, the human soul creates the experiences needed to evolve to spiritual maturity, eventually becoming that maturity, leading to becoming a Christ. An aspect of the divine plan for humanity is known as every man becoming a Christ. Seekers who have gotten this far on the path learn to examine their will. Why? Because they now understand that their will is not a personal property. Their will is an extension of God's will, the divine will. It belongs to and is gifted to us by divine will. It's an extension of spirit rather than simply a part of our own personal property. In examination of the will, some of the questions that may come up are, is my will, is my little will impressed with divine intent? What does that mean? It means, does my little will carry purpose? Above and beyond the personal self. But we have to be careful when we say things like that, because the personal self is included in that purpose, that divine intent purpose. It's included because It is purpose. It's part of the purpose. Its purpose is the one life and includes all of humanity. So the personal self, divine intent, again, aspects of polarity, okay? Same frequency. I mean, same, the same thing operating at different frequencies. Through their will, seekers discover the will of God, and they align their will with that will of God. We learn to align our will with divine intent. We learn that since my will is part of the divine will and is not mine to use to create any willy-nilly thing that I so desire, but is gifted to me so that I can help in the expansion of creating those things that are of use and desired by divine intent, needed by divine intention. So let's take a moment, briefly, become poised in the center between the brow. Move into the ajna center, about 3 inches beyond the brow. See it as a pyramid, a golden pyramid. And contemplate here your will. Realize that this faculty is part of your divine heritage and is part of the divine heritage of humanity. Every being, every last being, regardless of who they are, is indwelt by this same spirit which manifests itself as will. Contemplate its purpose. What is the divine purpose of my will? Align your will with the will of God. And say, not my will, but thine be done. So our personal will is an extension of spirit, divine will, the Father, positive pole. Thus, our personal will has free will. We as humanity have been given the right to use God's will. He is the motivating spirit. And as I said, he's the positive pole of the creative process, or within the creative process. When that will is utilized for the sake of the personal or separated self, it creates an error. It's misused. An error occurs in the nature of life for that will. Any will is God's will and concerns his whole manifest expression of himself. Take some time and allow these messages, this particular message, if in fact this is something that you've never heard before, allow it to begin to percolate in your being. Allow it to be integrated into your awareness of concepts. It is fundamental to your evolutionary process. Listen to this lesson again for deeper understanding. It's a very important lesson. Know that a strongly developed will has three basic characteristics. One, it's directive or causative. It has a plan. It knows its purpose. And it directs the life and affairs to that end. Two, it's creative. It creates the forms which will aid life in accomplishing its plans. And three, it's magnetic. It attracts to the life everything that life needs to carry out planned activity when your will is connected to the divine will. It will make sure you have what you need in order to get things done that need to be done based on that which one wants to create or one is hearing to create based on your blueprint, your spiritual blueprint, your soul's blueprint. When the will is aligned with divine intent or its source, it becomes the faculty of inspiration. What does that mean? It simply means that one begins to get downloaded with information necessary to carry out certain things, okay? It brings into the mind all of that knowledge relative to the growth and expansion of the consciousness involved. So one begins to operate with greater abilities to register and gain important information in order for the processes to move forward. Okay? That's today's lesson. I hope you are able to understand it. Have a good month, everybody. Again, always a pleasure being with you. Much love, care, and focus as we move through this new year. Blessings.